Ah! How's everybody doing? It's been quite the beginning of the year. I'm back in school. I'm back in Colombia. Working on my thesis. The theater season is about to begin in 2 months, so I'm writing some plays to get that started. And then I run the community garden, Bette Midler, over in Harlem, the Restoration Project, which I sit as the chairman for the fundraising for that organization, the Bette Midler organization, another community gardens in New York City. And we've been on hiatus. But in the meantime, I have been developing projects and formulating different videos. I'm also doing public access television. I'm going to be on MNN, Manhattan. So I will be in public access. Now, I've been in public access before in my 20s. But it wasn't the time for me to do what I'm doing now. So now I'm going to revisit it and I'm going to do what I'm doing on YouTube, but in Spanish on syndication. I do have a producer's license, so I'll be moving that direction. And I'm writing 2 books because I do have a contract and 3 book deals with the several publishers. So that's why I'm not on YouTube as frequent because I have all these other developments. A lot of you want to read my books. So I'm in that development. My second time return at 51 is to now develop books and seminars and conferences and move towards the way of developing and fostering other astrologers that are doing what I'm doing because I am unique as an astrologer in what I do. So now I got to train other astrologers to do what I do because I'm not going to be here forever. One day I'm going to die. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to leave in my organization a team of astrologers to carry on my legacy. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm being morbid or I'm thinking death and that kind of stuff. But I am 51. I've completed my first half of my life. Now I'm moving on my second half of my life, which is the second Saturn return, which occurs at age 54 to 56. You know, so now I'm supposed to bring it up a notch or two from the level. My chosen career is the career in which I will be remembered by. I cannot just stay being an astrologer. I gotta move forward and higher and develop a school, an institution, go higher, leave an institution and a foundation of learning where other astrologers, young astrologers that will precede me, can emulate from the genius of the foundation that I've laid forth. And this genius is not my genius. It's the genius of other astrologers who bestow that to me. Now I need to restore or bestow that genius to my fellow predecessors. So there's a lot going on the plate. But we are continuing with part 5 of how to interpret a birth chart. Okay? And we left off on the 10th house. So I'm going to jump right in with my drink on, my joint, you know, because it is the new year, The new year promises a lot. Now, I gave predictions of the new year for all of you, but you need to go to Instagram. I have 2 Instagram pages, Fernando.Prudhomme and also the People's Astrologer. So go to the People's Astrologer on Instagram. Now, my website, thepeoplesastrologer.com, has been taken down because there is a problem with the server with Vistaprint. Okay? So that's something that's happening on there, and it usually happens once or twice a year. So the website, The People's Astrologer, will be up. Just give it another week or two. This is something that Vistaprint goes through. I have nothing to do with that or have any control over it. Okay? So don't worry about the website. That'll be up in another week or two. Sometimes they take it down and they fix the servers and they do what they do. I paid them for that, so whatever. Let them do what they do with that. So today we are going to continue with understanding a birth chart, a horoscope. It's very involved, very intricate, very complex. And if you're gonna call me to get a birth chart done, it's important that you look Part is a Christmas gift, you know, astrological interpretation. Part one, two, three, four. This is five. There'll be two more because I'm gonna reach seven. Okay. And if you call me for a birth chart, you need to look at these seven parts before you call me for a consultation because that saves a lot of time and it will save you a lot of fucking money. I charge, it's $400 for a birth chart, and the subsequent fees per month is $250. That's a lot of money. So I want to make it whereas I want you to get the most you can. So I'm doing videos where you can absorb as much as you can. So you don't have to call me for a birth chart if you don't need to. But if you do, you have the foundation and then you pay what you pay. And then I'll do the deeper shit analysis. But if I didn't do these videos, there's no way that you can get a real benefit from the birth chart because it's so much information that it's impossible to cover it all in 2 hours for $400, for $350 per birth chart. And the tarot readings are $150 an hour. That's a lot of money that you gotta pay. So I gotta make sure that you get the most for your money, and this is why I'm doing these videos. So part 1, 2, 3, and 4. And after this is then I'm gonna do part 5. I think this is part 5, but this might be part 4. Then 5, 6, and 7. I think this is part 5, and then I gotta do 2 more. That's 7. When I do those, you should know everything you need to know about a birth chart and how to interpret a birth chart. So I am giving you the fundamentals. If you want to go to a website, or those free websites where you can do a birth chart on your own, I want you to do that. I want you to do that. You look at my videos from part 1 through part 7, and then you do a birth chart online. You know how they have those free websites to do. You should be able to do okay. You're not going to know the deeper shit. You need to speak to a professional for the deeper shit. But with what I'm giving you that's free from 1 to 7, plus you go to any website online on the internet and you get those free horoscope readings and they give you a basic birth chart. Between that and my videos, my nigga, my bitch, you can do pretty good. You can learn a lot about yourself and follow a something. Because not everybody has that kind of money to pay a professional astrologer to map out their lives or their destiny or their career, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So if you decide that you want to see an astrologer after you've seen my videos from part 1 to part 7, then it's money was well spent. Then I can focus on the preliminaries of what I need to focus on concerning your life and the immediacy of the moment that needs to be corrected, which prompted you to call me or talk to me. That's not going to happen if I got to go with basic 101 shit. That's why I'm doing these videos on birth chart interpretation and how to interpret a horoscope. So if you decide to call me for a birth chart reading, or not just me, any other astrologer, you got the basis, you got the foundation. I'm giving that to you as a gift. And it will not cost you a penny. Unless you want to see and get a professional return, then you're going to have to pay the money. That's my first announcement. My second announcement is thank you for donating money to my GoFundMe page, because a lot of my materials that I give you is based on content. So if I don't get money put on my GoFundMe page, it takes me a while before I do another video because that's how I get paid, right? And then the birth charts that you guys do on the side. That's all part of the equation in the matrix. So if that's not happening, then I slow down on the producing of the videos. Because I got the theater, right? I got the community garden, Brett Midler Foundation in New York City, which I run, fiscally. And then you have, for a particular garden. And then I have other projects. And then I'm in school, working on my postgraduate doctoral thesis. That's I'm doing a lot. And then I run 5 websites and 3 blogs. So it's a lot of work, and this costs money and regularity. So for me to continue the consistency of providing videos and regularity for you, I need to have that consistency of outpouring of funds, being put in the GoFundMe page, which you guys have been doing fantastically about. So we are gonna jump in, and we're gonna go into the 10th house. I described the first house to the ninth house with all of my other videos that I've done. So now I'm going to talk about the 10th house, okay? Okay. The 10th house is the area of your life where you will achieve your highest status. Whether you get a college education or you don't. Whether you have a high school education or no education at all. All of us, ignorant, smart, rich or poor, educated or ignorant, all of us at one point in our lives is gonna reach a point of recognition, acclaim, no matter how minuscule. You could be a famous person in your community, in your neighborhood, or in your block. Okay? But you can also reach a certain level of high fame, which transcends the locality and the provinciality of your community. Where you can become Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Lopez, Puff Daddy Como, P. Diddy. You reach fame, money, wealth, and all the prestige that that lifestyle confers. Understand that to reach that level of fame, that level of recognition, that level of acclaim, you gotta do some shit. You gotta put some shit in motion. Fame, popularity, acclaim, and recognition doesn't happen to a nobody. You gotta be somebody to reach that level where now the community and the public at large look at you like, wow, look at him. Oh, he's handsome and fascinating. Anybody, anybody in that category. Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, right? Jennifer Aniston, Rihanna, Ariana Grande. You know, all these people who are young and beautiful and are in the public spotlight and have experienced fame, acclaim, wealth, and beauty. All that falls in the 10th house of Capricorn, the signature of fame and recognition. What is your report card? What are you going to step into the world? This is who I am. This is what I'm worth. And this is what I'm good for. When I die, I will be remembered for being this and being that. What is your signature mark? What are you going to leave on this plane when you die? That is symbolized by the 10th house, the signature, and the point in the horoscope. That's the north, the highest point in the horoscope. It is Capricorn, the earth king and the earth queen. It's beautiful, but also very terrifying. Because when you reach the 10th house, which is Capricorn, you are now at the gate where you look back at your life. The 10 signs of the zodiac that preceded Capricorn is an evolution of experience. You can't go back. All you can do is now go forward. From Capricorn, you go to Aquarius, and then you go to Pisces. You go back to God. So Capricorn is the point of initiation. It is the gate. When you cross that gate, personality and ego begins to die. And the soul says, look, bitch, you're approaching mortality. It's time to consider your mortality. The personality and ego is dying. It will no longer hold. The flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. Right? It's in Deuteronomy and it's in Isaiah and it's in Matthew. The kingdom of God cannot inherit the flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. The 10th house lets you know, look, bitch, you're getting older. By the time we reach the 10th house, we're in our 50s, midlife. Bitch, what you gonna do? It's time to transcend, to transition. Are you ready? Do you have what it takes? It don't matter if you do or don't. The devil, Capricorn, approaches all of us by the time we reach age 50. And if you're not ready for the transition, then the Capricorn experience could be a real bad one. Think of the people who have died before their time. I don't even want to go there. Okay? So understand that the 10th house represents the ultimate representation of your collective works in a single lifetime or a consolidation of multiple lifetimes. The 10th house is the area of your life, like I mentioned, where you're going to achieve your highest status. But the 10th house is the house of the mother and the father, particularly the father, while the opposite of the 10th house is the 4th house, right below the nadar, which is the house of the mother experience, the matriarch, the ancestral tree, and the foundation of the race and origin and culture and family tree in which you come from. Is deep. These are deep houses, emotional houses, because it's earth and water. The genetic DNA and RNA and transfer RNA and the entire genetic profile of your race, of your family background, also falls in the 4th house, opposite of the 10th house. We have to mention the 4th house because it opposes the 10th house. The 10th house is the father. The 4th house is the mother and the mother experience, the grandmother, great grandmother, and the matriarch of the family. While the 10th house represents the patriarch of the family and represents the highest point in the birth chart that will allow you to understand what is your mission and purpose and focus, or what your focus should be in this current incarnation. Uh-huh. So the 10th house is the house that, again, you will achieve your highest status. What does that mean? Let me explain it to you. If you have Aries in the 10th house of the career, then your career will require constant change and flux, ups and downs, all around, round and about. There will be success, absolutely, and the success will be immediate and fast, quick, and in a hurry. But will it last? The answer is no. Not if you have Aries in the 10th house. If you have Taurus in the 10th house, you have a better chance of sticking to a job or a career that can last you until you die. And that in itself is a blessing. Who? A school teacher. A school teacher is an excellent example in this category. How many teachers do we know that are teaching well into their 60s and 70s? My kindergarten teacher, Miss Janaris, I still remember her. She got a great pair of legs. And let me tell you, oh, I loved her. I had a big crush on her. I was 7 years old. Miss Janaris is still teaching, and I'm 51. She's still teaching. 2019. But when she was my teacher, she was 20 years old. A morsel. You know? But that's the 10th house. She's a teacher and she's been a teacher her entire life. I've reached 51. I've lived half a century. And this woman is still teaching. She's about to retire though soon. That's the 10th house. A career that lasts a lifetime that you were born to do. Whatever career you choose in this life is the career that you were meant to have. It doesn't mean that that's the career that you're going to stay with until the end of your life. You might switch careers, go to different transitions in your careers. That's also significant, and that's also spelled out in the horoscope. So, the choice is yours. Which direction do you want to go? But before you understand and know which direction you want to go, you need to know who you are and how you fit in the grand scheme of things. Otherwise, this will not be useful to you. Because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to evolve and learn to evolve and transcend your current position? It takes psychological awareness to know who you are. And if there are anomalies or deficiencies, you have to learn how to fix them and make them right, correct them. This also falls in the 10th house, the career. The 10th house rules the father. If you had a bad relationship with your father, you may have a difficult time establishing your career or establishing your space and your place in this incarnation. Because the 10th house rules the father experience, whatever career or profession your father was involved in, it is a possibility that you might fall in the same footsteps and follow the same line of work or career of your father. It is the genetic memory of work and labor. It is the opposite of the 4th house, Cancer, which also rules genetic predisposition. It begins in Cancer. But the real house of DNA and genetics belongs to Leo and the 5th house. But it begins in Cancer. So we cannot discount Cancer in the process. So if you're here to do something that's great, the 10th house will spell it out. If you have Gemini in the 10th house, your career, you could have more than one career at the same time, or go through multiple careers within a span of a lifetime. Because Gemini rules education, language, communication, and scholastic activities. It is a possibility that you could be a writer, a book publisher, a website publisher, a lecturer, someone whose books, event planning and party organizing, and wedding planner. All this falls under Gemini. Being a teacher, a lecturer, an orator, all fall under Gemini and the 3rd house. So if you have Gemini in the 10th house, it is a possibility that your career may involve literary, communicative, and scholastic works. if you have cancer in the 10th house, as I do, I have cancer in the 10th house. That means that my career will involve women. Cancer rules women, don't it? Of course it does. I have cancer in the 10th house. 98% of my clients are women. 98% of the topics that I gotta talk about concerning men or women are emotionally based, which is a feminine principle. So I have a lot of men and a lot of women with emotional issues, emotional trauma that requires balance and recalibration. So I remember in my early life when I was a psychotherapist and a social worker, most of my patients were children. Children also fall under cancer, along with motherhood and anything relating with gestation, early childhood development, maternity, and the upraising of the family. All of that is the cardinality which belongs to cancer. So understand that when I was young and growing up, the people that helped me and rescued me were women. But I got cancer in the 10th house. So women became my biggest supporters, my biggest rescuers. It was the women that gave me the money to fund my theater when the men didn't do it. It was the women that gave me the license for me to open up a hall in City Hall and City Council in New York for me to do what I do, where the men told me no. Even though I may have sex with men, my sexual experience, which has been fulfilling and enlightening and healing, has not been with men, has been with women. So women play a major and significant role in my life since I have cancer in the 10th house. Women have been responsible for my success in my career and also as a man in the bedroom. Because most men don't know how to fuck unless you get a good woman to teach you. And I'm talking about when we're teenagers growing up and going to, I'm talking about that. Not as grown ass men. Hopefully, we shouldn't be having that problem as grown ass men. But if we are to be great lovers, we're not going to achieve that on our own. The woman has to help us be that great lover. So cancer and women have played a major role in my life for me being the man that I am and the career that I have chosen to be and do. And most of my clients are women. That's cancer in the 10th house. And if it ends removing myself and choosing another scenario, a man who has no contact with women and no contact with the feminine issues of life that makes things holistic and balanced, how does that play into his horoscope? Well, he himself may be very sensitive and possess those feminine virtues that are attributed to Cancer. Instead of him witnessing it from outside of himself, he might embody that himself. I myself sometimes come across as very feminine in my videos or very masculine. But I'm a shaman and I have spirit entities, men and female. And what you are seeing are probably transmutational phases of these entities that are mine coming through. And a lot of them are masculine and a lot of them are feminine. So there are times where I'm going to appear very feminine. And there are times where I'm going to appear very masculine. Understand that your eyes are not playing tricks on you. These are different spirit entities as a shaman and a medium that comes through me and which allows me to give you the information that I give you. Okay? The essence of bisexuality, not of physical and the sex. I don't mean it that way. I mean it spiritually. Where we are in tune with the feminine and the masculine within one body and one sex. And that is the true essence of divine existence. Because God is both man and woman. So a man who's gay or bisexual is actually closer to God than a straight man or a straight woman. Because God is bisexual, dual in nature. And this is known throughout all the world religions on the planet all over. Okay? These are not my words. This is just foundational doctrine that has been here since the ages. So, having said that, the 10th house describes and defines many things. Like I said, the father experience, how you're going to raise your sons if you're a man or a woman, how you are going to select a mate. Will he resemble your father or will he resemble some other man? Will you carry on into the same value system or employ a different value system from which you were born? A perfect example, Stonewall. Remember Stonewall? Well, you might not remember. In the 60s, it was a gay riot, and a lot of gays were killed. And the gay men had enough, and they said, fuck you, straight motherfuckers. And they fucked the straight dudes, and a lot of people died on both sides, gay and straight. Stonewall. It's a landmark in New York City. Because people think that because you're gay, you can't fight. You're a fight.